Hey guys, welcome back to another chapter of the Lost Chapters, episode 9. I don't know what this one's going to be called, but I am one of your hosts, Roman, and we also have.
You're pointing that way. I'm that way.
So,
I'm John.
yeah. Yeah, it looks weirder, but since I'm the main feed, I point like this, and that's you. And then we have a special guest down below.
Ooh, yeah, I hear. I'm stupid silly name boy 56823.
Fair enough. You could have at least like warhammered it up or something.
Yeah, see, I couldn't think of anything.
You were just talking about how you finished First Heretic. You could have said something like Lorgar eats ass 96 or whatever. You could have done something there.
Oh, yeah, I could have done something like that. Could have been like Arabic lover boy at 269,
Yeah,
69.
yeah, exactly. 69.9.
Yeah, the beat.
Well, so what are we going to talk about? I have a vague idea, but before we get to any of that, how about we get you, since games played is usually just like one or two games and it's usually John, let's just start off with that. So, John, you want to start us off with games played?
Yeah, I played a game because reason. Uh, I played Fredo, who's a member of Redstone Gaming, and we played 30. We played 3,000 points. Yeah, we played 3,000 points of 30K. I took my Iron Warriors, and he took Knights, Imperial Knights. Um, I thought I was gonna have better uh, back and forth than I did. Um, but we rolled for deployment, and we ended up getting the long table deployment. So my turn one, I only had one unit that could reach his knights. Um, so that really cost me the game, just that deployment type. Because if I could have destroyed one knight in turn one, which I could have with a lot of the weapons that I had, I think it would have been a lot easier for me. Maybe not to win, but at least to make the game a little more even sided. But I got spanked pretty hard. Uh, it was not easy. I think
No.
they're like the knights are like front armor 13, plus they have a 5 up invul save against shooting, and some of those knights are pretty fucking crazy. I do have his list right here. So he took as he did take all his knights except for the HQ as troops to try to make it a little bit more fair. It wasn't fair. So he took a an armature talon, a Cerestus Knight Archeron, which I think is the flamethrower guy.
Okay, yeah.
A Cerastus Knight Lancer, which is the shield and fucking stick.
Or a lance.
A Questoris Knight Warden,
Okay.
a Questoris Knight Styrix, and a Questoris Knight Megara.
Yeah.
For all his troop choices.
Quest Knight Bam Margera.
Yeah.
He's doing 6 shreds.
I was thinking about using the Styrix body, like the way how it's all mechanicummed out and stuff.
Yeah.
The carapace. I was thinking about using that for just regular knights, the warden, the paladin, whatever. But it turns out those knights have special rules that other Questoris knights don't have, so it probably doesn't make a lot of sense to have them all look the same when they're not all going to have those special mechanicum rules. But damn, they were fucking dirty.
Yeah, I've really.
And then,
go ahead. No, go for it.
And then because Alfredo has his favorite fucking knight, his HQ was his Pythoron. Everybody already knows he's gonna play.
Yeah.
I just ignored it the whole game. Honestly, it wasn't doing too much to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like turn 3 where we were really close together where that thing really started fucking me up. But the first two turns, I largely just ignored it. Um, but it is a scary fucking model. I can see why people hate it.
Yeah.
That thing's
Um,
beefy.
yeah,
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. It's a chunky boy.
Big. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And
little fat boy.
I've wanted one for a long time. Because talking about knights, like it turns out with like all the small knights and just the regular knights that I have, that I've only ever painted one. I have other ones there. I have like 2K of actual knights that I can play um, in Heresy. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. If I add a like, because I do like the Megara, whatever the fuck it's called, uh, one so much because it has the Volkite Culverin fucking big ass gun, and I love Culverin.
who doesn't like kites?
Yeah, Volkite. Since it has that big ass Volkite, I was like, man, I would like run two more of those, and I'm pretty sure I can get you like 3K, especially if I add like a few little things here. So it's a possibility that I could run an all knights list, like an actual knight house, a instead of like putting in an actual like warlord of some kind, a lord of war like the what's it called, uh, like a warhound or like a reaver or anything like that. Like I won't, of course, put those in until much later. But I think I'm really close to making a night house. I'm not too sure though, because I'm not sure if there's one that's like actually has a mechanicum, and I have to do like more fluff research. You know what I mean? Because I'm all about that shit.
Yeah.
So I got to figure out if there's like mechanicum and like regular like Questoris, like a mixed house that like exists. Because I would like to do that. That'd be cool.
I mean, they
Yeah,
just
I have
cool.
Hmm.
I want to ban Margera.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I have probably a good 3,000 points worth of knights for 30k. Um, all of it painted like House Griffin because I was using it for 8th edition. So, it's all fucking Questoris knights, nothing OP. But I do want to change that. I want to get some OP in there.
I mean, like I said, like I just want to know if there's like a house, and if anybody knows, go ahead and put it in the comments. Whoever listens to this, because I'm thinking about, because, god damn it, I have so many fucking things to like paint. So Mark, did you have a game split?
No, I was supposed to play you,
Yeah,
but those 2 weeks either, just stuff.
yeah, of course.
Well,
Yeah, I didn't get a
So
game
hang on,
played.
hang on. Before we move on to the next topic,
Okay.
I do want to mention um, my Contemptor Dreadnought with double Karis
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
in Assault. That was the MVP of my list. Like that thing survived knights coming straight at him, and he was actually the only one that destroyed a full-on big knight.
Uh,
And that big knight ended up doing a cataclysmic explosion,
mhm.
which destroyed another knight and almost destroyed a third knight.
That would have
Like
been.
my list sucked, but that
fucking
fucking
conga line.
contemptor, that
That,
contemptor fucking came in clutch.
telling you, bro.
Maybe the Knights saw the Contemptor and were just like, oh, that's a little baby. I can't fucking strike a baby.
Yeah, they're like, I have a baby at home, and it's just
Yeah.
like it's one of those like Mechanicum baby nights. It's like just like fucking like twitching and thing because it's been like it's been taken over by some fucking demon. So it's just twitching in a corner. He's like, I can't kill it. That reminds me of it's all fuck you. It's just fucking
Even,
12
even
shots.
though even though it's a traitor baby, it's like if Hitler was a baby thing, would you punch? It's like he hasn't done anything wrong.
He's still a
And then he
baby.
goes, yeah. Then that baby blew up like 2 dudes. So
I'm like, oh shit.
ooh,
Should have taken him out when I had the chance. Hindsight being 2020.
Yeah, Alfredo was looking at his knights exploding one after the other, and he's like, "Dude, you gotta paint that contemptor."
Oh yeah, John paint anything.
That's true.
Fucking-
Yeah.
I'll spray
MVP,
paint this over.
MVPs do need. Yeah, exactly. I need to put silver over it, and then just really quick with some yellow hazard stripes.
Boom, done. Fucking Iron Warriors in this bitch. Purdy would approve.
The celebratory like Gatorade dunk, a whole bottle of none all over it.
Wait, you mean that's not how you're supposed to paint?
I mean, Iron Warriors, it works. You know what I mean?
A liquid talent for a reason.
Yep. So, since that's all games played, I think we can move on to some hobby progress. And John, since you're, again, I'm assuming you didn't do anything, or little to nothing. I'm going to start with you again.
All right. I
Buying.
hope we have enough time in this episode. I have finished my 5-man. It's supposed to be a 10-man, but I finished 5. There's only 5 coming in the box. I haven't opened the other box yet, but I finished 5 Black Knights. And once I finish the last 5 Black Knights, that's my whole starting army of vampire counts. So I know I've mentioned that already, like in 3 episodes, but we're almost there, guys. We're almost there. By episode 12, I'll have finished those last 5 guys. I have my tanks for my militia army. They've been in LA Awesome for, I don't know, 4 months.
A year.
So I actually kicked the bucket that they were in, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, oh fuck! And I like stuck my hands into this fucking muddy, smelly fucking LA Awesome water, like terrified that the plastic had started melting already. But it hadn't. So actually, right now when we're done here, I'm gonna go ahead and throw them in the tub and rinse them off, give them a little scrub with a little sister's toothbrush, and after they dry, I'll start painting them up for Heresy.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What colors are you gonna use for it?
I'm gonna go with because my militia army is Catachan, right?
Yeah.
They're Catachan dudes, and I love the fluff for Planet Ryza, like a fucking lot. But I did want to do it like before they actually became Catachan. So even though they're all Catachan dudes, I want to go with a pre 40K color scheme. So they're just gonna be black with like dark gray camo, like what do you call that type of camo? Where it's like a cityscape camo.
Yeah, it's
urban camo.
Urban.
Yeah. So it's gonna go with the urban camo scheme.
All right. I can fucks with it. What about you, Mark? What's your hobby progress?
Oh, okay. So I'm second.
Mm-hmm.
I got burnt out on gold.
I understand that, as my hobby progress will include that.
Yeah, I got very burnt out on gold. I was trying to get the Minataris done.
Okay.
And the last time when we all played a game, it's the farthest I've ever gotten. Up that corn guy, and that was the quickest thing. That was the quickest model I've ever painted in my life. Fucking red, wash, red, done. Aside from that, I was gonna try to do. Also, I had the itch to do Drukari out there, and I was gonna start getting Drukari ready. It was way before Codex dropped. And for some reason, as soon as I started putting them together, someone got me a gift that got me a Deathcore Krieg Rider. And I'm like, oh man, this is fucking neat. I like this. Yeah. Yeah, this is just neat. Even though they got shot to shit. And so the one horse rider turned into 15. 15, then I got 20 infantry, and it's just cascade from there.
Okay.
Now I'm going Deathcore Krieg now. And funnily enough, after I put them together, primed them,
Hmm.
because I've ever done a 10-man squad, I'm almost done. I did basing and washing last night,
Hmm.
and I almost have a whole squad, a whole 10-man squad, which I've never been able to accomplish. Like almost like a week. I have those, and then after I'm done with those, I'm going to work on 5 writers.
Okay.
I'm trying to get, probably gonna build another one, prime it real quick. So I'm trying to get the 10 men done at least by tonight. Then tomorrow, start on the writers.
Hmm.
I'm giving myself maybe like another week and a half to complete the 6.
Okay.
After that, I'll do another 10 man and another 6 writers. I'm trying to get at least a 500-point list done.
Hmm.
After that, that'll be like majority of and elites and all that shit.
Yeah.
So after that, I got to finish up putting together the little centaur, a little 5-man dedicated transport. Then I'm gonna paint up some grenaders,
Hmm.
which I'll do 5 for regular grenaders and 5 as proxy engineers. And then I just got to do 1 HQ, and then that'll be like a whole 500 points.
Mm.
It up. That's the one I want to bring when I play you in our first little 9th edition game. So that's the plan, and I'm hoping to get all this done. I'm a slow painter. Just like the 20 infantry and the 12 horses, I'm hopefully trying to get done by this month.
Okay.
So by in a month and a half, try to maybe this majority of it at least put together.
Hmm.
Even if I don't get around to painting all the other stuff, at least have all the other guys put together.
Nice.
So that's what I'm aiming for.
Very cool. Anything else?
At the moment, no. Besides like all the other fucking stuff I got in, I'm looking at that roll door right now. I just picked up, and I'm real tempted to just like, yeah, just to put them together and just slowly paint it up.
Fair enough.
But I'll hold off for the time being.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. As for what I have done, I finished up the Custodes, my little Custodes commission from my buddy Scott. So that was 2 Palace Grav tanks, a Calidus, a
Elamon.
Telemond. What's the big tank? The one that transports. Oh, the Cronus. The,
It's a
the Cronus, and then the big Mamma Jamma,
Orion.
the Orion, which I actually weighed it. It's 2.8 pounds. It's almost 3 pounds. It's fucking insane. It's just like one gigantic chunk. It was such a bitch. Like that one. Since I know you've got one. Sub assembly. Sub assembly is gonna be your fucking friend.
That already fits my style, so that I'm gonna do that. But it's good to know that that's how it should probably be done.
Yeah, because it is a big piece, and just like um, resin's tough because if you manhandle it too much, you will just rub off the paint. You're like, fuck! I just spent like an hour base coating this bitch. So for me, I'm lucky that I have the airbrush, and like I locked it off with the varnish and just let it dry for an entire day. Then I came back and would like do that process every day. So that thing though, Ryan itself took me, I want to say like a week and a half, like a full, I would say 9 to 10 days, like just strictly that, where I would just like, all right, I just have to do this because if I manhandle it too much, I'm gonna fuck it up. I'm gonna chip paint all over the fucking place. So
Yeah.
like I had to like take my time, like lock it off with the varnish, and then like do the other side, lock it off with the varnish, wait like an entire like it was just a big process. So that's why I'm saying like with a sub assembly, it should be work out a lot better just
Mhm.
because of that. But I would still suggest fucking getting an airbrush and doing a good varnish on it. Other than that, I put out the wild ambitious goal for my hobby streak. 1 year anniversary, I was gonna get a full 3K list of my Ravenwing fully painted, and I've come to the realization it's just that is not gonna happen whatsoever. So as far as I get, I hope it's a good chunk of the army. Maybe I should break it up into like a 500 point, a 1,000 point, a 1,500, 2,000, kind of just to break it up. But I did do a full test model. I don't know if you'll be able to see this with such shitty lighting. But
If not, they can see it
yeah,
on
you can see it
and Facebook.
you can see it on my Instagram, which is romantics88 or Instagram.com/romantics88. It's weird. I don't like using actual websites, but just look up romantics88. That's where I put up all my hobby progress. But if you're a member of Red Star, you'll probably see my nightly fucking stuff that I do there. So the good news is that everything's already primed. Now I just have to start doing, kind of the batch painting and like working on that. I'm not super happy with how the red came out. I know I was talking to Mark about it a little bit. He was like, "Yeah, it looks cool. It's different," but I'm not completely happy with it. I'm gonna fuck with some shit with the coming models and kind of see how that works out. But I did finally use decals from uh, the Dark Angels transfer sheet that I ordered from Forge World, and it was pretty cool. Microset and Microsol are fucking awesome. They pretty much melted it to where it looks exactly like it should. I never really fucked with decals because I thought like, I'm gonna fuck this up in one way or another. I don't want to deal with this. But turns out it's pretty good. The shoulder pad looks a little wonky, but I think it's because the
Mm.
actual shoulder pad, like it has like a weird shape, so it kind of like fucked up. But still cool. Um, I printed out a whole bunch of stuff. Well, I printed out these little things. They're little rounds that go inside the javelins, the javelin attack speeders. So now I just have to magnetize those little rounds, and I can switch them out between um, the Typhoon missile launchers and the las cannons. Which more than likely I'm going to use the las cannons, but I can switch out to rocket launchers whenever. Other than that,
When you sent me that picture
mhm.
of the orange thing connected to the fucking land speeder, that land speeder is smaller, or either you haven't finished building it, I don't know, but it's smaller than I expected. So I thought it was a jet bike, and you were talking about magnetizing the weapons, but they were on the sides, and I was
Yeah.
like, how big are these guns gonna fucking be? Fuck Dark Angel.
Well, the attack speeders are actually, if I could do a little comparison here, like that's the size comparison, like from end to end. So
Mhm.
it's a good like the actual hole is probably a good like half inch more. So they're not much bigger. They are a lot wider, of course. But when you measure
Yeah.
them up to like another land speeder, you can tell it's a javelin. You can tell like how much bigger it is. Which again, it's like 11 all around instead of 10 all around. So it's a little more armored. It can take a heavier variant of weapon with the last cannon. So plus one of my favorite things, and it's stupid. Let me see if I can find him in here. The other guy that actually holds the mounted gun doesn't actually sit on the seat. He kind of just has like one leg propped up on it. I don't know if you can see it. Like he has one leg propped up. So
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that looks fucking adorable to me. Uh, so
It looks like when you see in the movies where the guy kisses the girl and she puts her leg up.
yeah, exactly. But he's gonna be holding a fucking heavy bolter. Oh, and I did get something today that I actually kind of wanted to reveal on it. So this probably shouldn't. I probably doxed myself. Whatever. Um, but
That's not that good.
huh? Yeah, I'm not fucking. No, no one's looking at this. Um, but what this is some things that I had ordered from Cromlock or Bits of War, as some people know it. But
And that already came in.
mhm, I was
Yeah.
surprised that it came in as I'm still waiting on my green stuff order, my green stuff world, because and I have heard that green stuff world is just fucking insanely like slow, like even before Corona. So I didn't really expect anything there, but a whole bunch of fucking fluff. All right, so oh cool. I think they sent me a complimentary helmet. But I bought a whole bunch of these different swords. So, firstly, we have a gigantic, uh, like two-handed chainsword, which I thought was badass. And I was like, oh, I can do some like great shit with that because, Dark Angels are all about if you have a sword, you're gonna have like a higher weapon skill. But one of the ones that I actually really was interested in was, I believe it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. Um, it's just a regular kind of like power sword looking variant. Let's see if you can kind of see better detail there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it's two handed. So John, if you can get a better look at that, if you can. But it's like a two-handed sword, so it has like a longer handle, and that fits perfectly with the tyrannic great swords that Dark Angels have access to, and they're a pretty good weapon. I thought they looked cool, so those will be going on some of my dudes there. But it looks like they sent, and they usually do this. If you do order from Cromlock, they'll just throw in like extra bits or extra stuff that you can use. And I think this might be. This is like a super short chainsword, so it looks like more orky than anything. So that might be a good orc bit for you, John. And then they sent this helmet, which I've never been too like crazy on their helmets, but a free helmet's a free helmet, and it has a cool little fucking mohawk on it.
Ooh.
So there you go. And of course, they'll always give you a little, um, like the last time they had given me a little 5% discount um, on my order, so I use that for it. But there is something that I've always wanted from them. They're actually these like treaded motorcycles, like they're bikes that have tank treads instead of like wheels and shit. I just thought they looked really
Yeah, you
cool.
got me. So,
Yeah, so I want some for myself because I think they would be really cool for like a tech marine on bike. You know what I mean? Like he would have like a special bike that only he would have access to because like the Mechanicum praised him as a good follower of the Omnisaya and all that bullshit. So um, I'm interested to see, and now that I know that Crownlock delivers so quickly, to be honest with you,
Quick.
I might actually buy those a little sooner than expected.
Oh yeah. Shit.
But that's
Get
pretty
on.
that is pretty much it for my hobby progress. Like I said, I haven't done too much because again, I needed to get that commission done for Scott because I know he was waiting on it. Um, so I finished up that and hoping just to do as much as I can for my Dark Angels. I finally, came out with a good black that's more blue more than anything, and I took it from the. My inspiration came from the cover of the Lionel Johnson Primarch book. that had recently come out. And if you see that, you see like the way they painted his armor. It's black, but it has like a lot more like they painted it as kind of like a blue black, like where it shines more blue. And I was like, I kind of want to get that, and that's what I did for these Dark Angels. So I'm gonna be following that kind of thing with them. But other than that, that's my hobby progress. Like I said, I didn't have any games played, but hopefully that'll change. This week, actually, I will be getting my second dose for my COVID shot. So that may open up some more possibilities for me to go to some stores if anybody wants to play a game or play more, of course, more in my backyard because now I have a table thanks to John. Oh, that's one thing I didn't fucking tell about. Another part of hobby progress is John was able to help me out by getting the piece of plywood that I needed. I got some banding for around the table so it protects it a little better, the sides of the table. And I already cut it down to size. I just literally have to like drill out the holes, put carriage bolts, and put some nuts on them, some washers, and I have a wargaming table. So it'll be pretty good. Other than that, I've actually been printing out a lot of this cheap terrain. I printed out a lot more of these buildings. This is just the second and third floor, which I was thinking maybe I could do this and kind of glue them together on a base and make like this like crumbling like a big piece of terrain, or possibly like use this as a base and get like some. I have like a plastic card, and I can like create a bigger like surface, so it's like one big second floor. And then there's other like the only problem is I just got my 3D printer working because I had updated it to a silent board, and with that silent board, it pretty much didn't come with a like a system to run it. It basically was just like a blank board, so you had to plug in all the values that you needed. I didn't have fucking time for that, but looking through fucking YouTube, there was a guy that pointed me to somebody that all he does is he's in Australia, and he basically takes like all these different boards and makes these kind of like quick and easy like things that you can just use the bootloader and just load it up real quick, like settings that'll just print it out like perfectly. I I pretty much paid. I think it's like $12. It's $12 for a year, and I really only need it once because that's the only board I'm really gonna have, unless I have like another printer, what have you. But at this point, I just paid $12 and got it. So I just got it started working, and that's how I was able to print out like those little rounds that I showed you for the attack speeder, and I've been able to print out some more of that stuff. Now that I have that, I have to buy some more PLA, which I just got another roll, and start printing out John's terrain that he had paid for, because John basically spotted me $50 for an order. I paid him back in STLs from printscenery.com, which is a really cool site if you do need some like printable terrain. They're all just, you can literally just load them up in your slicer and just start printing them. They're that good. You don't need a lot of supports for them, which is perfect. I don't want to support every fucking thing that I build on that thing, so perfect. But yeah, that's hobby progress.
Often they have skills, but when I told Roman which ones I wanted, it was a really nice like what 5 terrain piece bundle, like 20
Yeah.
bucks. So they're like I think they're what $6-7 a piece for the STLs.
Yeah, 6 or 7. Like for the if you had bought them singly, but with the bundle, it's like $20. So you basically get like
5 or more pieces.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really cool. They actually have like speaking of like you were talking about the Black Knights, and that's fantasy. They actually have like this Lustria range. So they actually have like this breeding pool. Like if you don't know like about lizardmen, they had like this breeding pool where they would just like basically like have other skinks and like Croxagore and shit like come up from this fucking pool where they would fuck and just lay their eggs and shit. So fucking awesome, and they have like an actual terrain piece like that. I was like, oh, it's gonna be so fucking cool if I can print that out and then use like that resin kind of water effect and like paint it up so it looks like all glowy and fucking mystical and magical. I was like, fuck yeah. So hopefully, one thing that I actually am excited about is somehow people have latched onto the idea that I'm like Mr. Fantasy in San Antonio. I have no idea why, but like people are calling me out now, which I'm fine with. But yeah, if it gets more people into fantasy, fuck yeah, I have extra rule books that people can use. So I'm down. Anybody that wants to play some square based shit, I'm down. Just let me know.
I think you're going to be severely disappointed when they find out Mr. Fantasy's not the name they're thinking of. They're just like, this is not the commission kind of work Mr. Fantasy.
For some reason, I'm wearing my commission speedo and I like have like rip away pants.
There you go. Stuff in front of people.
Yeah, I have my banana hammock.
Go.
I play in my banana hammock. Oh, it'd be awful. Oh, one thing I want to get out of the way is we have comments from last episode, but it looks like they're bots because it's literally like vorm dot. It's like vorm dot shit, which I clicked on one and it's just porn. Um, Sometimes it's porn. I should say it's not always going to be that. But yeah, so we have two comments. It's basically vorm.show and vorm.lol. So there you go. But other than that, we're going to get into kind of our main topics. And John was talking about heresy, and we always love heresy. And I kind of want to get, well, I want to know what Mark actually thinks about this. Recently, there was a rumor for heresy. There's going to be like basically a heresy 2.0, right?
Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, yeah, and I got it from what is it? The Fate 212 website, which is at naftica.blogspot. Um, but this was originally from the what is it? Bolter and Chainsword. I'm just gonna read it like verbatim here. It says, interesting. There's been a rumor circulating our HH gaming group. Dropped the last month. Never really posted a rumor before, but seeing someone else's above comment reminded me of it. This has been leaked from separate source. He has been part of the playtest team. Others here may be turning into aspects of this, as we all know people. This is the rundown. So, 1. Heresy 2.0 this year. So, apparently this year, there might be a Heresy 2.0. I don't know how... I don't know how true that is. And I'll explain that, like, why I think so in a little bit. But it says, 2, a plastic starter set to be released with or after it. 3, a lot of plastic kits are coming / already been made. 4, no more black books. 5, rules still old 7, just cleaning up and somewhat new things added. Dreads have wounds. So that one made me scared, but I'll explain that a little bit. Then 7, big focus on heresy again, to be in line with AOS / 40k. Can't verify the source. Healthy dose of salt. No future releases previewed by GW are cutting HH, or there is something big coming. So yeah, basically, just addressing it. So it says Heresy 2.0 this year. It would be weird because AOS is pretty much but all going to have AOS 3.0. Like they're gonna have 3rd edition for AOS coming out this year. Like with everything coming out with what is it, Broken Realms? Broken Realms tech list just came out. Now we know that it's gonna be Broken Realms Be'lakor as the 3rd one, and the last one, it's only gonna be 4, is gonna be that Kragnos or whatever the fuck. It's like some new god. So it's only gonna be 4 books. If you go by any of like the release schedules, they usually kick off new editions in the summer, which is June or July. Techlist literally just came out like last week, so that doesn't give a lot of time for these books to come out. That maybe gives a month between books before third edition actually comes out. I think it's July because I think they'll announce it in June. They'll do like a month long kind of like, here's what's happening with AOS 3.0, like all these like different like feeding you little rules changes, and then third edition for AOS will come out in July. Now I don't know how much they want it to conflict with each other, so I don't know if Heresy is necessarily gonna drop this year. If it is, it's gonna be like, it literally seems like it's gonna be out of the blue, like sometime like in November, like for the holiday season. I would assume if they are gonna do that. So it also says like plastic starters, like plastic kits. That would be cool. I would love to see plastic kits, especially like a plastic, like something
So they
like a.
did with Prospero Burns and
Mhm.
Trail. Same thing.
But I'm
Those
like,
are
how awesome would it?
awesome right there.
How awesome would it be to have like a plastic like Leviathan? That would be fucking dope.
Yeah.
I think that would be fucking awesome if that's true, because they seem to have like big pieces, like, and of course like if you have a big piece, people are like, oh shit, I can get that. Both systems for 40K and 30K will buy them if it's a good piece. And I think a Leviathan. I think everybody kind of loves the Leviathan, so I think that would
Maybe
be something.
maybe new marks, different marks of
Hmm. Yeah,
armor,
yeah,
Corvus armor, Heresy armor.
yeah. If they were to, I would love if they would go like, fuck it, we're going down to like Mark II armor, like old ass fucking armor. That would be fucking sweet. Because they don't even sell Mark II armor anymore. So, and then like Mark V, everybody thinks it's like there is an actual Mark V, but it's just heresy. So everybody just kind of kit bashes it. They're like, oh, I'll just use like these
Yeah, you just
Mark
put
III
studs on.
legs. Yeah, it's just like mixing and matching. Um,
Helmets. I would say the helmets you would probably get majority from Marines, maybe. They had like that weird little pig snout thing
mhm.
going on, some
Yeah,
cheeks going. Yeah,
I guess
I
like
think.
the destroyer helmets are probably like the best one, like the ones that have all the rivets like kind of
Oh
over
man,
the, yeah. I would assume that's more like Mark V helmets more than anything, because yeah, they do have like that kind of like extended kind of like
mm.
that extended smush face. Um, Now I know you kind of like winced at dreads have wounds. Now I kind of did too. I was like, fuck, like this is gonna be kind of like this is gonna be fucking ninth edition. But I don't think so. I think what they're going to do is kind of bring them in line with some of like the. They're pretty much going to give them like the monstrous creature rule, or they're just going to create a new rule that has like monstrous creatures and like big things like that, and they're going to have that keyword, and that's how they're going to change it. They're going to be like, look, it now just has wounds instead of hit points and like armor facings for dreads, because does it honestly, I don't know if it matters too much with dreads. Like a majority of the time, you're not really gonna get like rear arc on a like a dread of any kind. Like it doesn't really matter for like the armor facing specifically for that. I think it matters for tanks because they're so large, like they're elongated. Like it does matter. But with a dread, I've never gotten to a situation where it's like, oh, is it side armor or anything? Because it doesn't really matter. I would say that's like a cool thing. I just kind of I don't want it to delve into like too much to eighth, ninth, like the current rule set. But yeah, I'm okay if there's like a new kind of like there's new updates for that. Now,
I much prefer that it stayed armor value. Dreadnought is a walking tank, and it should have the rules of a tank.
I mean, I guess I don't see it as a big deal. I guess that's me. Like I know that they are, yeah, they're walking tanks. I get it, but it seems like it just doesn't come up as often as you would like think it would. Like I said,
And my biggest fear is because they said there was in the rumor that they were going to do it so that you could play 40K with 30K. And if they start with the dread not having wounds, how much longer is it until the tank has wounds?
Yeah.
The tank has an armor save
Hmm.
until they just update all of 30K into the 40K rule set, which we could always just say fuck you. We're just gonna play with the original rule set, but then anything that comes in the future would have the 40K rule set.
Well, it says big focus on heresy. Again, should be in line with AOS and 40k. Now, that I don't think that means like in terms of like the actual gameplay, because I think there's, of course, when you look at seventh edition, it is a really complicated rule set because it's basically fifth edition with two fucking updates to it, like two big updates to it. So it's dense. It's a very dense system. I don't want that to change in any way, but if there's any ways to kind of improve it, I'm cool with it. Now, when it says like in line with AOS and 40k, they mean in terms of like actual importance. Like, you know what I mean? Like Heresy is the next biggest game for them. Like in terms of like the most people that pay attention to it, I guess you could say, because it's always going to be 40k, then it's AOS, and then it's Heresy, and then like all
They're
the
gonna,
other like games
they're gonna
below it.
push that down.
Yeah, exactly.
What I'm seeing is maybe GW is trying to get a little better grasp on heresy. They're just trying to fucking phase out Forge World. They're just like, hey, you're on fucking borrowed time, which would make sense of why they're nixing a lot of stuff in there.
Which
You know?
which I think somebody said. It says financial reports suggest that GW has invested a lot of money into their production and distribution capacity. The long-awaited factory upgrade, which I think someone mentioned may have been completed, possibly has an impact on the planning of future releases. So yeah, they were saying that they were gonna actually update. Give me 1 second.
Which I would say also makes sense because I remember since I'm slowly getting into starting to look up more Imperial Guard stuff, and there was a guy saying like they heard down the grapevine ever since we got their fucking shit nixed out in the last Forge World date.
Mm.
We're just like, well, since with Cadia gone, they're like the next poster boys they want to do. They want to do Krieg, so maybe Krieg might be getting their own plastic models. That's why they're slowly taking it out of Forge World.
Mm.
Which I mean, especially now hearing about this Heresy 2.0 and the whole want to make their own Heresy plastic models. I mean, I maybe just me, you know, connecting the pins on my conspiracy board that it all, like they're trying to not necessarily try to get rid of Forge World, but bring over the main stuff that are big sellers
Mm.
over to W, maybe getting plastic stuff and that whole coronavirus where everything's pushed back. So dump everything at one time. I mean, me, it makes a little more sense.
Mm.
Seeing how much Prospero and Calth are still very sought after. They came out with like a box set and another box set, or maybe they're reprinting the old two box sets.
Mm.
I think they would make a fuck ton of killing that. Maybe get like a new Contemptor layout so it doesn't look like a stick figure man standing
Yeah,
there.
right.
But yeah, definitely would want it.
Yeah.
Again, they're I think like a year. Was it last year or the year before that when they were doing like different Contemptors for each legion?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe just it just seems like all that's really what's the word I'm looking for. Or more uniform. They're like, oh, we're gonna give you a couple of dudes and a Contemptor.
Yeah.
You get a couple and a Contemptor. White Scars. You get some dudes and some Contemptors.
Mm-hmm.
Scars are known for, right? Contemptors.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, I am fearful of like the black books like being discontinued. because of course I love the Black Books. Like the one thing that sets like the Heresy apart from um, like mainline 40k and things like that is just the amount of actual like story that you get in there, like how it builds like a legion or how it builds this and that. Like there's a lot of cool shit that you can read in there. I would hate for that to kind of be sacrificed just so that the game like gets a wider audience. Um, but if a wider audience means that it actually thrives a little more and it's actually like there's more people playing it and willing to play it, I guess you gotta kind of take it with that. But again, this is all rumor. It could all be fucking not true.
Shit as like Demon Angron and Demon Fulgrim coming out last year, the year before that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility that they just fucking like they're like, look, you can use this fucking like 40k Mortarion, like you can use this Demon Primarch Mortarion. Guess what? You can use him as him at the Siege of Terra. Like he's already fully transformed. Fuck it, you can use this big ass model if you want. And it has. Go ahead.
I'm gonna be the voice of fucking depression here and predict two possibilities to 30k going plastic, and Forge Road may or may not get back into GW. But GW takes over 30k. One of the biggest issues I would see coming is that they're gonna do to 30k what they're doing to 40k right now. Just this is how you win. This is how you win. Buy this unit. Buy this unit. Buy this unit. That's how you win the game. That's what 40k is. 40k is just pay to win.
Okay.
And I would fear that happening to 30k because 30k has always been about the narrative. It really doesn't matter who wins or who loses. You're telling a story. Just because you lose a game doesn't mean it's gonna affect your campaign or whatever storyline you're driving. You could have 6 games, and winning or losing 1 or 2 doesn't matter over the whole storyline. And GW has a very bad habit that I've seen since playing in 7th of just like everything that comes out is just way stronger than what's before it because whatever was winning now needs to not win.
The
like
power,
you spent
power
your money,
power
yeah,
creep,
the power creep. Like you spent all your money to make this winning army. Now the next one that's coming out is just gonna annihilate that one. So now you're gonna spend all your money on the next army.
Yeah.
So that's one downside that I can see happening. The second is whiny fucking nerds talking about oh I spent how much is a fucking Leviathan? $100 without the weapons?
Let me double check.
120, like
go
they're
ahead.
gonna be really pissed off about the amount of money they spent on resin when plastic's gonna come out and be like way cheaper, and now like you said it'll be an affordable game, which is not bad. I don't care about that because I'm fucking poor, but you're gonna have those elitists who are gonna be like, oh no, this fucking people who couldn't.
What I would contest to that is if they're elitists on that part. I mean, they were already elitists before. Like, can't use this because it wasn't here. You'll already have those gatekeepers who will be like, you can't play this or you can't play with us because they're not painted or they're not painted the correct way or your regiment or your squad doesn't match up to whatever. I mean, there's gonna be those guys already. As for I would say as for the power creep, I mean, he's gonna have those players regardless.
True.
I know.
I understand what you mean, like what GW does about the power creep. Like right now, everything fucking Space Marines is taking over 40k. But then again, they're just
specifically Dark Angels. But
yeah.
they're saying that like Drukhari is like, oh okay, like Drukhari is like the next best thing. So like the thing that happens is like the power creep happens where the next one is the best one, the next one is the best one, the next one is the best one. But then everybody it does even out once like everybody has a new codex. Now that's where you're gonna see like, okay, this is actually more powerful. Like, it's possible that like throughout the whole thing, like Space Marines are just gonna be on top still. You know what I mean? It's a strong possibility.
Business standpoint makes sense because I mean that's their highest seller.
Now the only thing that I'm afraid of with it, but I kind of have another view on it. So my concerns is like they're getting rid of the campaign books, like the black books. They're going to like update the red books. So okay, you're gonna have kind of what you have now. I can see like one being like just Space Marines, like what they have now, where it's just like the basic units that every legion can take, and then they're going to split up that army, the actual legion book, into two separate ones. Like you're gonna have a loyalist book, and then you're gonna have a traitor book. And then the same thing with like they'll just update Mechanicum, they'll update the militia. Um, so that's a strong possibility. But but again, this is still Forge World. I don't see Heresy ever being brought into GW Prime, into GW specifically. I think it is a Forge World game through and through. Like yes, GW will produce like some plastic stuff like they do now, and they might even like uptick that, where it's like, hey, we're like all the Marines are now just going to be in plastic, and if you want like your torsos and your heads and your shoulder pads, guess what? You can get those through Forge World. Like Forge World becomes like a print on demand kind of thing, where it's like, look, we print these much. Once we sell out, we're just gonna leave it at that for I don't know 5 months or whatever. They're like, okay, these are back in stock. So I think that's what they're going to end up doing. Like that's what I would like to see them do it at any pace.
Would I would hope so too. Like when they came out with armigers, and then months later they're like, "Oh, here's some separate part for the armigers on Forge."
Mm-hmm. That's what that's what I would hope for. But in terms of the actual books, the one thing that gives me hope with books is Necromunda, because Necromunda is a specialist game. All specialist games are Forge World. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like, Necromunda, Adeptus Titanicus, Blood Bowl, all these games are under Forge World. Like, Forge World is now a specialist games. And the cool thing about them is we know that quarterly they're getting something. We know that every quarter, every 3 to 4 months, we're going to see something for Necromunda. They just came out with one book. They just announced another. So like they're constantly getting books, and those books are pretty hefty in terms of like what comes in them, and they have a lot of fluff in there. So that's like the one thing that really does give me hope is that okay, it's still a specialist game. They're still gonna take time with these books, but I don't think they're gonna be like a black book status. I think they're gonna be campaign books in terms of like think of Adeptus Titanicus, like how every one of those books is a short campaign. I can see them just being like, look, we're gonna give you a big ass campaign, but this is gonna be specifically like take the Dark Angels. If Thramis wasn't in there, they're gonna be like, look, there's a whole Thramis campaign book. You can play these campaigns. Guess what? You want to play the fucking the Battle for Calth? We're gonna have a Battle for Calth campaign that you can play. Like I would think that's what they're gonna do, because at this point I don't know how much more they can add to the Heresy. Like in terms of actual fluff, you can add in more units and like this is like where like you can add in that kind of stuff, right? But in terms of like the big fucking things, they're pretty much done. Even like the Siege of Terra is coming to a close. Like the actual story of the Horus Heresy is gonna be concluding within the next like year.
We're also going to be finishing up with the Primarch soon.
Yeah, exactly. So like Heresy as like not saying that they're not going to, they can't add in things later, but for the most part like the big steps of this whole thing are already done. So like I don't know how much more they can add to like it would be cool if they can do like Great Crusade stuff. Like if they were like, hey, we're gonna fill out the Great Crusade. Like that would be fucking awesome. Or Unification Wars or things like that. Everybody wants the Scouring. I've never been too interested in the Scouring. Like the short, like what, the 1500 years after the Heresy. Never been too interested in that. There's some cool stuff that happens, but I honestly, for the majority of the thing, I don't care. I'd much rather see like the Great Crusade Crusade. I'd much rather them be like, hey, you know that Horus Heresy isn't just a fucking Marine on Marine game, right? And then they're like, hey, look, guess what? Here's an actual here's an official orc book that you can use with your. This is a Great Crusade orc codex. And they're like, it's
Eldar and all the other.
yeah,
shit
exactly. Like
Yeah.
instead of having these fan made ones, which the fan made ones are great, and depending if fucking a GW won't be shit, I'd probably even still use those. Like, but that's the thing is it gives you more options. Like, I think that's the big misconception with Heresy, and we've talked about it a lot, is that everybody just sees it as Marine on Marine. And a majority of it is. Like, you can't deny that. There's fucking 18 different fucking armies that's just literally using the same fucking units over and over again. So, again, I would like to see different things with Heresy in terms of, like, fixing just the small problems. Because we all know that there's fucking problems with 7. Like, fucking, what is it? Wound allocation is a bitch. It's just a bitch. Like, we all know it's a bitch. So it's just kind of like, if they can clean it up a little bit, that'd be cool. But I'm completely fine if they say, like, yeah, we're not going to touch it. Like, if everything stays the same, I'm completely fine with it. If they just said, like, hey, we're still going to fucking do black books, still going to do this and that, completely fine with it. It's just that the rumor is just at least interesting to see, like, what everybody would kind of want out. Because I've heard a lot of people talking about it, like saying, like, oh, I want this or I want that. And
Yeah.
Honestly,
feedback from everybody else.
yeah, I would love to see, like, just more Heresy news. Because that's the one thing is, like, we had the Dark Angels last year. That was it. It was, what, March or, like, I think it was March or April. Like, during lockdown, it was, like, the only thing that came out. And that was just, it was just a book, The Lion, and a few, like, Dark Angels.
Salt Harvest came out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but, like, that's the thing is, like, if I think somebody even, excuse me, I think somebody even did the math. They were talking about, like, there's 1 to 2 models coming out every 3 to 4 months. So 1 to 2 models that come out for the Heresy every quarter. How many fucking new things come out from just, like, 40k or AOS themselves? Like, whole armies come out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you can't get anything for Heresy. Like, that's the thing that sucks is that they always talked about, like, oh, Forge World is always, like, super open about, like, what they would be doing with the Heresy. Like, they would be very open. This is what we're working on. This is when you can expect it. This is kind of the timeline. They'd give you that. And now they've completely shut off. Like, they don't have anything. We fucking knew about the Brochith Ramus was one fucking, what was it? Like, one bit of information for a whole year. Like, it's once a month they'd give you something. Like the Throat to Thramus, and they're like, okay, it's finally gonna be orderable this date. It took a whole year for them to do that. It's fucking bullshit. You, like, with GW, you at least know, I guess, Mark fell out for a little bit, which will happen from time to time. But, like, with I fucking lost my train of thought. Anyways, just fucking, I just need more information. I would just like more information. Even if they say it, like, if we're going to, like, not continue the black books, like, that's something that you should communicate to people right now. Like, if you're actually thinking about it, it's something that you should actually communicate to the community to be like, okay, get feedback from them and see how people react to that.
Oh, they've just been behind on it, especially like everything with the website. Like, I guess right now they're fucking with the website and look up stuff that shows that it's sold out. Dude, like the custodian, like, people are.
Looks like Mark maybe dropped out again.
So while we wait for him to come back, you did mention orcs, which got me thinking, reminded me of what I was thinking. So most people, they play the Prime Orc, right, as Orc Prime Orc.
Yeah.
But, like, most people will use Angron's points and rules.
Mhm.
So it'll be super. He's a super choppy Primarch.
Mhm.
I was actually looking and thinking. I'm like 90% sure I want to use Lehman Russ's points and rules.
Mhm.
And instead of wolves, I'll have Squig.
Yeah, like that, and that's the fucking thing about like heresy is just like we all know that there's gonna be a community that's just gonna like the community is just gonna do what they want, right? Like we've proved it. We're just gonna fucking play whatever we want. Like just because you change the rules or you do something like this doesn't mean that we're not gonna be able to play something else. Like we're not gonna be able to play earlier editions. I guess Mark's coming back on, but I like think about just fucking how we play fantasy. Like we literally just play 8th edition fantasy. That's it. Like so even if they do update those rules to where like oh new shit is coming out, we can just adapt those rules to the current rule set if we don't like a new rule set, whatever they come out with. But I think I would hope at least that Forge World is at least cognizant enough to be like, look, these people just like the way this game plays. So we can update certain things about it, but we have to keep the core of it as, you know, like that 5th to 7th edition. Like you can't deviate, you can't do a fucking 8th edition fucking Horus Heresy because I think a lot of people would be like, I'm good, we're not going to buy that. And then they'll be like, okay, we'll buy models, but we're not going to buy any of those shitty books. We're going to fucking continue playing our shit. So that's the whole thing is like, I think they're at least cognizant enough because of the old world. Like they're like, fuck, we got to bring back the old world. We fucked up. We could have done something with it. They could have done this to begin with. They could have been like, all right, we're moving like the old world to like a Forge World game. We're gonna keep some of the basic rules. We'll update a little bit, but we're also gonna have AOS. So like I think I would hope that's what's happening, but no real telling until maybe later this year when we if the rumor is true, maybe we'll get some news later this year. Of course, after fucking AOS 3. After AOS 3 comes out, then I'm sure we're gonna get some. We'll get some more news on different things. But yeah, I mean, Corona did fuck up a lot of shit. For
Back up.
yeah, it just backed up everybody. Like nothing, nothing is moving at the speed that it would have if it just was not a thing. But is there anything else that y'all want to talk about in terms of the rumor?
Rumor? No, not really.
Okay. Oh,
I would say everyone creaming their pants over Cursed City, though.
yes.
I do have a prediction for the box set, the plastic box that comes out.
Okay.
It's something I'd actually been thinking about for a while, even before the rumor of this new box set.
Yeah.
Because you know we always expected a third box set. The first two did too fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
For there never to be a third one again. But one thing that I had been predicting for over a year now is that the new box set is going to have jet bikes, but it's going to have two jet bikes.
Ooh.
So that if you want your unit of three, which is the minimum, you'd have to buy two boxes.
Mhm.
So if you bought two boxes, you'd have four, which would be enough for your Centurion and a unit for him to ride with. But I've always thought that like they have to do jet bikes. Jet bikes are too insanely popular, but they can't give you all three.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a way to force you to buy two boxes,
Mhm.
which I would have done anyway.
Yeah, exactly. If they okay, if there ever is another fucking box set, best believe that my ass is buying like 3 different sets. Like I'm going to buy them like by myself because there's going to be a whole bunch of Marines that guess what? I'm going to fucking kit bash and do other shit with. I'm either going to use them as is or I'm going to kit bash them. So like, and I'm literally like the cheapest guy when it comes to this. Like I don't buy that many models, except for now when I'm trying to build a fucking 3K list. But like I don't buy that many models. So like I'm one of the thriftier guys, and if I'm saying like outright I'm going to buy 3 fucking boxes no matter what, that should tell you something. There's gonna be people that are like, yeah, I'm gonna buy fucking 8 boxes. I'm just gonna have them.
Like I have spending issues. I have no self control.
Yeah.
The understatement.
But like seriously, it's not an understatement to say that Roman has bought more toys in these past 3 months than he has in the entire 8 years we've been playing.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah, and
like
again, like I'm just excited because like this is my legion. This is like it's the first legion, bro. It's my legion. So of course I'm going to be the fucking idiot, and it's gonna lead perfectly into our next thing. Of course, Dark Angels.
Well, hold on. I was gonna be the Debbie Downer of this whole
Oh
box
my
set.
god! All right, go for it.
Knowing how GW runs their whole box set bullshit,
Hmm.
you know it's gonna be fucking hard to get it. They're gonna have
Oh
some
yeah,
eye on it. All the fucking scalpers are gonna be ready to take all of them, and you're not gonna be able to hold it. Like this whole the whole fucking new one, the Hose Be Mad box set.
hmm.
I've seen people sell the Lilith piece for like I saw one dude get away with like $75.
Jesus.
Like that's the only thing I gotta say about it. Like a new box set would be awesome, but bitch would be hard to get hold.
You know what? You know what would be really interesting, like super interesting, is if they didn't make it Marine versus Marine. If they were like, look, there's other factions in this thing, so guess what? Here's some plastic Mechanicum. Like they take a few different Mechanicum units that are already like made, and they're just plastic now. So like take the simple ones. Like take a simple one like Thalax. Like everybody's gonna need a lot of Thalax because in a lot of lists you can just use them as your troops choice. So okay, cool. You're like plastic Thalax or like plastic Thralls or some shit. Like just like
That
something that's different.
cool would be cool, but you know it'd be more lucrative just to do Marine on Marine.
For sure. Like it's been proven.
I do think that the Thalax is a valid thought because you can take certain Mechanicum stuff in your Marine army, and I think Thalax is one of them. There would be if you could take a rite of war that lets your Thalax be non-compulsory troops. Any legion can take that. So not only would you be feeding your Mechanicum players, you'd be feeding your Marine players as well, and also gaining that interest of like, wow, it's not just Marines.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's I think that's the biggest hurdle that they have to jump for a lot of people is they're just gonna be like, oh, it's just Marines on Marines. Which again, like a majority of the stories are Marines on Marines. Like it's not how many fucking non-Marine books did we get in the 54 books of the Horus Heresy? Like, not many. There's fucking Mechanicum and like
That was like the first one comes to the head to my
yeah,
mind.
yeah, Mechanicum. What is it? The something dead or something. The the whispering dead or some shit. Like they're like it's all about humans. Like it's either humans or space marines. That's pretty much it. That's where it boils down to. There's one book on fucking Mechanicum, and that's pretty much it. And even the Mechanicum is like not necessarily Mechanicum. It's more on fucking like a human like investigating this thing about something on fucking Mars. Um, oh, I
And knights. There's knights. There's a bunch of
yeah
knights.
yeah. I was just about to say. I was like, oh yeah, Titan Death. Like I thought it was a big fucking one. But the Beta Garmin. Okay, but yeah, we'll see. Again, I'm interested to see what happens. I just want more information. If that leads to another edition, cool. Another box set, awesome. But we just need more information. Like they're so fucking like closed off to telling anybody anything at this point. And this was even
Yeah.
before Corona. Like even before Corona, they had it closed up like dramatically, or we just didn't get any information from them. But before we close out, I did tease it last episode where I had two different list ideas for the Iron Wing, and I wanted to read a couple things just to get you in the mood, get you to see the fluff of Iron Wing. So it says the Iron Wing was dedicated to the use of overwhelming firepower on the field of battle, to confound the foe by means of barrage and conflagration, to defy their riposte with inviolate armor, and carry the day by means of force alone. It was not a subtle wing, composed as it was the majority of the Legion's armored vehicles, heavy dreadnoughts, and field artillery batteries, a force ill equipped for operations reliant on stealth or subterfuge. Yet they excelled at the breaking of fortresses by superior firepower and the rapid onslaught of massed war engines to overrun and annihilate an unprepared foe on the open field. Its marshals were experts on the engagement and destruction of enemy war machines and heavy guns, often called upon to see to the destruction of those apocalyptic engines of destruction encountered by the Legion in its lonely crusade. Though this deployment of massed war engines was by far the most renowned aspect of the Iron Wing, it was the only facet of their doctrine of overwhelming strength. As a merging of the old House of Iron and Stone, the Iron Wing also included a substantial number of initiates from the infantry arms of the Legion. Uh, Mostly those attached to heavy weapons support units, breacher cadres, and Terminator squadrons. Indeed, during the last years of the Great Crusade, the Iron Ring filled the largest concentration of Terminators, not only in the Dark Angels, but in any of the legions, including a number of experimental patterns of armor unknown in the panoply of other forces, often employed en masse to storm fortresses or repel the onslaught of the enemy. These warriors earned a fearsome reputation within the Legion. Many retained the old emblem of the host of stone, and assuming the title of Stoneborn. The brutal attrition of the early years of the Horus Heresy would decimate the ranks of these valiant warriors, ever first in the attack and defense of the Legion, but by the end of the rebellion, they were a shadow of their former strength. Given the wealth of technology fielded by the Iron Wing, its inner circle was dominated by the Forge Lords of the Legion, and of all the wings, only the Dread Wing was more despised by the Mechanicum, for the Iron Wing and its masters paid little heed to the creed of Mars and employed much technology that was forbidden to the adepts of the Mechanicum. So, I made two different lists. I'm more leaning towards the first one with a minor change more than the second one. But these are 3K lists. Hopefully Battlescribe actually loads up quickly. Oh, that's loading up. Okay. So, for the first list, it's a Damocles Rhino with dozer blades. So Damocles Command Rhino is the one that once per game shoots off the blast from the sky. Then I have a Legion Praetor with a chainsword, a refractor field, Volkite Charger, a Volkite Serpentia. There you go. And then the troops choices are actually tanks. So they're Predators. They all have armored ceramite dozer blades. These in particular have Power of the Machine Spirit, las cannon sponsons, and then Executioner Plasma Destroyers, which is a plasma weapon, and that is 36 inches, strength 7, AP 2, heavy 3, blast 3 inches, so small blast. The next one is another set of 3 Predators, pretty much the same, except the weapon is different. That's just the Predator cannon, which is 45 inches, strength 7, AP 4, heavy 4. So that's pretty much my troops. Come on. The next is actually a Saber Strike squadron. So it's the small fast tank. It does have heavy bolters. It has 4 Saber missiles and of course a Volkite Saker. So the Volkite big weapon with just a heavy bolter on top. It's weird because this squadron for some reason can only take 2. You know, most squadrons can take up to 3. For some reason these only take 2. I don't know why. It's not like they're like super fucking broken that you can do anything with them really. For heavy support, I have a Vindicator siege tank, but it's actually a squadron, so it's 3. So it's 3 Vindicators with the Demolisher Cannons, extra armor, and Power of the Machine Spirit. And I believe they have the sponsons. No, they don't have the sponsons. They're just a big ass fucking Vindicator. So it has 3 Vindicators. What else? What else is in my heavy support slot? Oh, and then 2 Whirlwind Scorpiuses. So they're basically like a Rhino chassis with like a big fucking rocket launcher on top. And then I have a Lord of War, which is the Glaive, the Legion Glaive. So it's like a the Fellblade fucking chassis with, I think they're quad last cannon sponsons, and then of course the Glaive is the one that has the big ass Volkite uh, turret weapon on it. So again, all tanks, all goodness. And then the second list is pretty much that with some minor changes. So as soon as that loads up, what do you think about that, John? Because I know you're more experienced in list building than Mark and Heresy. So what do you think?
I'm trash.
So the plasma tanks, the predators, those are probably better at troop killing than vehicle killing with the strength 7. And then you got troop control also with the Volkite gun on the little tanks. So you have how many? If you include those 2 types, how many tanks do you have for controlling troops?
Like pretty much all of them. All of my tanks. It's basically um, a infantry killer because
Okay.
it's all Volkite. There's very few like las cannons, and las cannons are gonna go for the big shit whenever they can. But for the most part, it's a bunch of Volkites. Even the plasma, like you said, is a small blast. It's or heavy 3, whatever. And even that is not like super great against tanks. You know what I mean? It's only strength 7. So it is more catered to an infantry killer list for sure.
So what do you have to take care of armor value? Do you
Nothing
go
really.
against some
Nothing
nothing
really,
really?
and that's why I started to go into the second list because the second list deals more with that. So it's pretty much the same thing. With the second list, it is a command rhino, of course. With dozer blades, it does have a legion praetor, artificer armor, with the tyrannic greatsword that I just got a fucking bit for. It actually has 2. This is where it differs. It actually has an elite choice. It has 2 rapier weapon batteries, and they're the graviton cannons because I like grav weapons. So it has 2 grav weapons, right? So two of those dudes, and then the predators pretty much stayed the same. I didn't change the predators because I actually like those loadouts a lot. Then I still kept the sabers, but I actually kitted them out differently in this one. It's multi melta and neutron blaster. So a multi melta, everybody knows that, but the neutron blaster. Let me look up real quick. The neutron blaster is range 24, strength 9, AP2, heavy 1, concussive, and shock pulse. And then shock pulse, if I'm not mistaken. Look this up real quick. Any vehicle, including super heavies, that suffers a penetrating hit may only fire snapshots at the following game turn. So it's really good against bigger tanks and shit. So there's the saber tank, and then I actually have 2 leviathans because of course they're heavy leviathans, like it says in the fluff. I do have the grav bombardment. Oh, actually, I have one with double grav flux bombardment, and then the second one is double melta lance. So I have those with armored ceramite, and of course phosphex. But this is the Lord of War changes because it's a Stormblade. And a Stormblade is basically your Baneblade chassis with a gigantic plasma cannon on top. And that plasma cannon, let me read you out what it does. The plasma blast gun. It has a overload, which is range 96. So it covers the fucking field. Strength 10, AP 2, primary weapon 1, and apocalyptic blast, a 10-inch blast. Then the rapid is 72 inches, strength 8, AP 2, primary weapon 2, and a massive blast, which is the 7-inch pipe blade. So when I was making the first list, I was like, oh, it's really fluffy, but it really is catered to just taking out specifically infantry. When I made that second one, I made it I think I made it an okay mix, but it is more catered to like taking out very heavy like weaponry. So both of you, which do you think I should go with? Or which one sounds cooler to y'all?
Like the second one.
The second one.
Yeah. One is I like that one. You're gonna have more fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I wanted just like the thing said, I was like, well, I've always loved like the quad launchers, like the actual mortar launchers that they have. And of course, I fucking love grav like weaponry. I think it's such a fucking cool. Like you they accelerate the gravity in like a certain area and just like smash things. Like it's fucking awesome. I love it. So I when I made that second list, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is like the list I should make. But I wanted to make sure by bringing it to the table. And that gives me an excuse to buy 2 fucking Dark Angels Leviathan.
There you go. See? More reasons. Treat yourself, girl.
Oh my
Treat
god! And then I am still fucking around with trying to make a 3K now list for the Dreadwing. It's impossible. Like I don't know what I'm going to do. It seems like there's no way I can get this fucking thing under like 4,000 points. Like and it's because of like all the restrictions. Like it literally says all infantry and independent characters must start the game in a dedicated transport. So they have to have a fucking transport. I can't just take like the plasma guys, the Dreadwing plasma guys. I can't just take them. Like they have to be in something. Hey, guess what? They can only take a fucking Land Raider. It's 180 points. They're already like 200 and something points. So I actually did the math. A 10-man squad in a Land Raider is 500 points. It's fucking. I'm like, god damn it! Like it's super ridiculous for me to like try to make this thing work without having like 4 pieces on the table. Like it's gonna be like 4 tanks and everything's gonna be in those tanks. I'm like fuck, man. It's an infuriating fucking list to try to make work.
When we were still playing 7th, and 7th was like the current edition. I actually played against the guy. He had 2 Land Raiders with a unit in each Land Raider, and then he had a drop pod with close combat devastators in the drop pod, and that was his army. And it fucked me up. Fucked me up good.
So like I'm trying to like think about what is Dreadwing. Like the Dreadwing is basically like the lion says, like, this place is destroyed. Like, I just want it destroyed. Doesn't matter. So I'm like, okay, what does that look like in my head? Right? Like, first of all, my compulsory troops choices have to be either destroyers or those plasma guys. And I'm like, I kind of want both of them because I think they embody like what the dread is. Like the dread is firepower, but also like we're going to like get to you and we're just gonna fuck your face. That's all we're gonna do. So I'm like, I kind of want both of those units in there, right?
Like
But
fucking
yeah, exactly. But then I'm like, oh, dread. How awesome would it be? Is like all I had was just that and dreadnoughts, like purely dreadnoughts. So I was thinking like, oh, I can take fucking like the two leviathans, right? Which I wouldn't always take. I don't want to be an asshole and take two leviathans, but I have that. I'm gonna have them for the Iron Wing already, so I can add that. But I was like, fucking mind blown. I love box dreadnoughts. They're so fucking adorably short and cute and boxy. But Pop Goes the Monkey sells the fucking Volkite arms. So I want to have two box dreads with Volkites, with double Volkites, and then I want to have a close combat one. So what I want to do is literally have like all the shooty dreadnoughts on the field, and then just have like drop pods that drop into close combat ones, and they're just like fucking rah, and then just fucking like go into combat. So yeah, like my whole deal is just like I just want things just fucking uh like shoot and get into like some things that are dedicated to close combat. But I know that John is running out of some time here, so John, do you want to quickly go over your 30K list?
Yeah, well, the reason why I had asked if you had, when you were talking about your first list, if you had had anything that could deal with tanks, is because my first list that I'm getting ready for our Great Crusade campaign is militia, right? So I have a force commander, um, who is my main HQ. Um, he can take two. I guess they're called Provinces of War.
Okay.
So he's taking Gene Crafted and Survivors of the Dark Age, which are two things that make a lot of sense with Catachan. Um, Basically, I think it's like +1 weapon skill and +1 strength or +1 toughness. I don't know. Off the top of my head. But basically, it's just really good close combat for my troops because they are Catachan, even if they're Catachan. And then I have a navigator because I've just never played them before. I have a navigator model and I've never fucking played it. I haven't done either. That's probably why I haven't played it. And then for elites, I'm taking a unit of 3 engine Sierra Auxilias, which are just sort of fixed tanks. My compulsory troops choice are my Grenadier squads. They're 18-man units. 2 of them have grenade launchers with gas canisters. So they don't have any AP, but if you do fail an armor save just by luck, the unit has to take a pinning test. And if you're pinned, I have 1 reconnaissance squad with sniper rifles to try to take care of any characters. And then a fire support squad. It's 6 heavy flamer teams in 1 squad. Now that squad is actually going to be riding around in a Terax pattern termite assault drill, and because my force commander has a special rule, he can choose his warlord trait, and one of the warlord traits is to grant a unit of your choice a -1 to its AP. So the heavy flamers would actually go from AP4 to AP3, so that'll be like some good armor crunch for my army. And then I have a Thunderbolt heavy fighter, a little airplane with a couple of rockets on it. I have 2 3-man units of Lehman Russ. One of them is just 3 Lehman Russ battle tanks, regular battle tanks. The other one is geared a little bit more towards armor, so it's an Annihilator, which is last cannoned out.
Okay.
A Demolisher, which is obviously still good against troops, but it is strength 10, so it's there for stripping hull points. And then a Vanquisher, which is the long dildo fucking cannon, which is there just specifically to take down vehicles. So one 3-man unit for troops, one 3-man unit for vehicles. My Lord of War is a Baneblade,
Okay.
quadruple last cannon turret, pretty basic Baneblade. And then I also have a fortification, which is my Firestorm readout with quad Icarus cannon, which it's basically two twin link blast cannons that can only fire normally against aircraft. If I'm shooting something at the ground, I actually have to snap fire,
Yeah.
which is weird, but that's the only gun that the fucking thing comes with. Even though it has other options, you only get that option in the box.
Oh. Okay.
That
Fair
is
enough.
my 3,000 points that I'm trying to get ready. That's what the tanks that I have in the bath. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm not gonna get it painted nearly as fast as Roman's gonna get his painted, but hopefully we can get some bat reports out and start the actual campaign with some color on the table besides gray. But with that, I'm going to leave you, gentlemen, because I have a house full of people now, and they're being as quiet as they can, but it's not going to last very long.
All right.
So, bye.
Later.
John.
All right. So, but yeah. So John went through his list, and Marco here has a list as well. Though I don't know what game system this is.
It's probably just for 9.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
PK time if I ever get this done.
Okay.
I have nothing really 100% set now because I just really thought about it just like a week ago.
Oh, looks like we may have lost Mark for. Oh, he's
Okay,
come back.
nice.
Okay. There you go. Okay.
Since I'm getting into Krieg and I'm looking for Imperial lists, Imperial Guard lists, using a lot of tanks and whatever. I'm not a big fan of tanks.
How dare you?
Yeah, I'm not crazy about it. But want to do this because of a little piece of lore that I heard that I thought was just fucking hilarious. We all know the memes about Krieg, like they just want to go out and fucking die. It's like I do at least 2K like heavy infantry. Like you have at least minimum 100 just troops alone. Which I looked it up. That's probably like only 550 points because they're only like 50 points per 10.
All right.
So of course it's going to be troops, cavalry. I'm seeing what you're saying about cavalry. Those guys, cool, neat.
That I want some for myself, so I don't blame you.
They're cool. I think like the setup I have, it's going to be already like 660 points by itself. She'll fill it out with mortars and auto cannons and the quad launchers that they have there. Really, really nice. The only reason why I thought about that was because there's a piece of lore what I was telling my friend. He's like, I know about Green. They just there and they just kill themselves and really care about whatever. And I was like, nah, it's not true. I was like, they strategize their death, really strategize on the death. An example. Oh, one day the Krieg go and they're gonna fight the Necrons. Oh shit about nothing about the Necrons. So of course they do the strategies. Go do that. To the meat grinder. So who's getting shot? And of course they get hit and they disintegrate. Well, in the back, the commissars and the commanders are watching. They're just like, all right, yeah, they get hit, they're vaporized. Everything that gets hit or touched. They're holding a gun, the whole thing just goes. So I guess they see that one dude gets hit, falls, but he dropped his gun. Realized like, oh shit, okay, it gets vaporized. But if you drop it, okay, so they start strategizing. They pull the guys aside, like, hey, everyone come together. Like, okay, here's the game plan. Run out, you get hit. As soon as you get hit, drop your gun. So the guy right behind you can pick it up and keep fighting. So it's just like if I came up with something like that, where you get 100 dudes, fuck it, you just feeding it, just feeding the meat grinder. You don't care.
You should get like extra like fillers that don't have guns. Like their guns are on the ground. Like they're like preempting. They're
Exactly.
like fuck it. They're just I'm running empty-handed. Or just have one with like a grenade out of his hand. Like ah.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, that's the idea. Is just to be a full-on infantry. Minimum, I gotta have 100 dudes,
Yeah.
500 points.
That.
Do the game of 2,000 points.
Mhm.
A little bit, a lot of guys.
I well in Heresy for the Dark Angels, there's a Stormwing, and the Stormwing is all about infantry. Like so much so that if you take 20 legionaries, they can take a dedicated centurion in their group. So like they you can basically get it for free. You get like a free HQ choice in that unit, but they can never leave it. They're just there. So I was like, oh man, how fucking cool would it be to have like fucking 60, like have three blocks of 20 dudes and their leaders just like fuck it, we're just gonna march up and just shoot whatever comes into contact with us. And I was like, fuck, that sounds really really cool. And then that gave me an idea. I was like, I could bust out the old trays and just fucking
You go.
put 20 dudes right there, boom boom. Even though they're gonna get blown to shit because they're what is it, the oh man, what is that fucking thing called? Where they have to stay in certain
Mission.
range of each other.
Uh, the one thing that you fucking love.
Yeah, I know. Fuck. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I forget the name of
I
it.
get you.
But like they're just gonna get blown to shit because they're so like they're so close together. Um, but I was just thinking, I was like, man, that would be fucking cool. And then just like eventually build it up to like it's literally just fucking Dark Angels. Like, yeah, it's just
Straight up.
like you said, like 100 dudes, which is five troops choices, which you can take up to six. So it could be 120 dudes. I was like,
Yeah,
fuck.
exactly.
I was like, that would be honestly really fucking cool. It would be shit
Exactly.
on the game. Like it would be shit like in terms of like actual gameplay for Heresy, because I'd just be like moving all these dudes like one at a time. That's why I would just move like that's why I would just take like movement trays.
At one point, yeah, I would have to get movement trays.
Coherency.
There you go. Yeah,
God
it's
damn
like
it.
a batch of just fucking
Mhm.
bring like a cooking tray, like a bitch. Put them in there.
Well, I know that there's that what is the Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Apocalypse has those fucking clear movement trays, and like
Mhm.
they're relatively okay for Heresy. So I was thinking, oh, maybe I should just buy those and like kind of just have those for troops choices, especially if I'm
Yeah.
going to be doing like that the Stormwing. So it's something I'm tinkering with. Like I said,
You
I'm
find
just
if you find or anyone who's listening finds some decent movement trays for that idea, just put in that comment below. It's like,
in ninth edition, like coherency doesn't like there's no blast weapons like that. Like there's no templates, so it doesn't really matter. So if you're just doing ninth edition uh, Krieg, that would be fucking awesome.
it'd be mostly just for try to get or just move all the guys instead of just moving one individual.
Mm-hmm.
Speed it up.
I get you. All right. Well, I think that's the end of the episode, just because it's starting to get
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, I'm getting very tired. I have work tomorrow, and I still have to do some hobby before I go to bed. So, uh, we still haven't fucking found a good sign off for this fucking podcast. I still haven't like even with as much as I think about Warhammer, which I honestly it's like one of the only things I think about.
I thought it was see you in the next chapter or something.
Yeah, but it's just fucking like I don't know. sounds so boring. I gotta come up with something good.
Oh, you're still doing an episode right now, so
Oh God! All right. Well, that is. I guess that's the end of chapter 9. So we will see you next time. Bye.